Thank you. Next, we have no public comments today, so we are going to move on to the adoption of agenda and consideration of consent agenda. I'll go through and see if anybody has any items they wish to remove from the consent agenda. Ms. Wallace,
No, thank you.
Mr. Mikes,
None for me.
Mr. Owens,
None, thank you.
Ms. Moran.
No, thank you.
I have none either. Someone wants to make a motion.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented as to order of business items and approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Having a motion for Mr. Mikes and a second for Mr. Owens, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Okay, we are going to move on now to our action items. The first item will be approval of truth and taxation notice of tax increase for fiscal year 25-26. And this will be by CFO Vaughn.
Good evening, board. This is just the actual action item connected to the presentation we had earlier in the evening regarding the truth and taxation hearing. I do believe that this has to be a roll call vote.
No problem. I do those anyways.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions? No. Okay, awesome. If somebody would like to make a motion.
Move to approve the tax increase as outlined in the attached truth and taxation notice.
I second.
Having a motion from Mr. Mikes and a second from Ms. Wallace, I will call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Next is the approval of the fiscal year 25-26 school district annual expenditure budget. This will also be by CFO Vaughn.
Good evening, governing board. This is simply the approval we've all been waiting for, the actual adoption of the budget for the fiscal year that we're presently in.
There's no other questions from anyone? No. Okay. If somebody would like to make a motion.
I move to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 school district annual expenditure budget per attached memo as presented.
I second.
Having a motion from Mr. Owens and a second from Ms. Wallace, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. See, we're not going to be here forever. Okay, next is discussion and possible action to retain or promote students. Per our executive session earlier. Hold on. You guys don't need to say anything. You just need us to make a motion, right? Okay, so Ms. Contra, I'm just wanting to make sure that we can split these out, right? Because
Thank you. President Zeidema, in this agenda item, we can list out the student numbers next to the student numbers stating whether you're choosing to uphold
to promote or to retain.
As well as those you may wish to table.
Okay, so you need a motion to table the two as well as the other two, and they need to be all together. We cannot do them separately.
We cannot change the agenda at this time because in order to do them separately, I would need another agenda item for each student.
Okay.
Okay, I will make a motion. I move to retain student number 61446 and promote student number 66081 and table students 73445 and 54536.
Board Member Moran, would you please repeat that motion so that I can ensure I get the numbers correct?
Yes, I am moving to retain student number 61446, to promote student number 66081, and to table student number 73445 and table student number 54536.
Okay, Ms. Contra, I'm going to ask you another technical question then. Since we have to do it in one motion, we basically have to vote no if we don't support the whole thing. Okay,
That is correct.
okay.
And there is a motion on the floor.
Okay, sorry, yeah,
We
just
just
so
need
there's a
that.
motion, so we would need a second.
I will second.
Okay, having a motion from Ms. Moran and a second from Mr. Mikes, I will call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
No.
Ms. Moran,
Yay.
I'm a no. Motion passes. Next up is just reports from administrators, and we don't have reports from the superintendent or board members listed, so I guess we're not doing those this time. But thank you to our administrators that sent in reports. There's just a few of them, not all the principals, but thank you to our people that work all year long. We do appreciate the information. I enjoyed reading the stuff from Ms. Larson about the EL program this summer. That was pretty fun to hear all the compliments that they got from the parents and how they really had nothing bad to say about the program. So that's pretty awesome. And I'm glad that they like the puppets. With that, I think we are done. If somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Having a motion for Mr. Mikes and a second for Ms. Wallace, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wallace,
Yay.
Mr. Mikes,
Yay.
Mr. Owens,
Yay.
Ms. Moran.
Yay.
I'm also a yay. Motion passes. Thank you for joining us. You all have a lovely evening.